Welcome to The Introvert Sisters, the podcast by introverts for introverts, hosted by Sharon and Lisa, two INFJs with a lot to say.
Hi, I'm Sharon.
And I'm Lisa.
And together,
we're the Introvert Sisters.
Welcome back. Welcome back. And if you tuned into our last episode, you know we've been spilling our tea on the tea that was spilled at the interview of the year.
The interview. That's all. And the thing is, I think it, forevermore will be known as the interview. Like it's the interview to end all interviews.
Yes.
Yeah. So of course we're talking about Meghan and Harry on Oprah with Oprah. That's what we're talking about. And in our previous episode, we spoke about, why are people shocked that royals are racist?
Yes.
Hello. We talked about light skin privilege, about colorism, about the concerns over Archie's skin tone, about Black excellence, and how Black excellence can kind of, it's required of you, but it often works against you.
Yeah.
And about financial abuse.
And narcissistic relationships.
And so, the interview went so deep. I thought it was going to be something like a nice little popcorn moment, and it turned into a sort of a seismic. I don't know. It shook the planet.
It shook the planet, and we need to repeat our trigger warning because suicidal ideation was discussed, and therefore we're also going to be discussing it, right? So just so you know, if this is going to be a trigger for you, feel free to mute when we get to that point.
Yes, but listen to everything else because it's good.
It's good. So let us pick right back up. Let's pick right back up with one of the criticisms that has been leveled is that Meghan should have done her research. Now,
you guys can't see, my eyes are rolling behind here. Rolling.
Okay, let me start by saying, the one thing that I found hard to believe in all of that was that she didn't Google her blind date, because who doesn't do that these days, okay? But it doesn't really matter because we are not indulging in victim blaming. It doesn't really matter whether she did it or not.
No, but I'm curious. I'm curious as to why it's a thing that everybody does for everybody all the time. We just Google people all the time.
Listen, this is the century we're living in. It's not like, it's not like she met him 20 years ago. 20 years ago, would I have Googled my blind date? No, it wasn't even possible. There wasn't that much information. But would I say Google as a euphemism for searching information. But, if you're going to meet somebody, would you not look and see, were they on Facebook? Was there anything known about them? Just to make sure that this is something that you actually ought to be doing. I think that most women, because of course, other incidents outside of this interview have reinforced again that women are not safe.
Mm-hmm.
I would certainly do my due diligence. I would look them up. I would see where they are on social. Okay, now maybe Harry wasn't on social, but he still had a public presence as Prince Harry. So I feel like I would have looked it up, but I could be wrong.
Yes.
How do you feel?
I feel as if sometimes we've all had that sort of the beginning of a relationship, or it could be a blind date, it could be whatever, but you think, this could actually be interesting, and I want to just go in with no preconceived notions. It's a blind date that was set up, which means that the person was vouched for by somebody that you trust. Let's start there.
Okay,
right?
Fair enough.
I think that
That's
played
important.
a role into it. That's important.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like there are people I know that literally know nothing about the royals, but very few. I feel like if the royals and Oprah and certain sports stars or whatever, whether you like it or not, there's probably going to be stuff that you know about them, or you have an awareness of them because they are so public and so ubiquitous. And I think, again, remember we said in the last episode, she also had this idea that, oh, they're just like celebrities with more history.
Yeah. Right.
kind of a thing. Yeah, so I think, but I understand where you and, Amanda Seales spoke out on this as well, saying that Meghan should have done her research. But I found, Ms. Seales was a little judging with it. And I didn't appreciate, I just didn't appreciate how people, how people are just ripping Meghan apart.
Let me be clear. I'm not saying she should have done her research. I'm just saying that I found it hard to believe that she did not do any research.
Yes, given where we are.
I'm not judging whether she should or should not have done it. It's just odd to me. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. No, I understand what you were saying, and I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
When I said I have a problem with how Amanda Seales, how she said what she said, or I don't know. That sounds like tone policing, but that's not really where I'm coming from. I didn't appreciate the judgment behind it. I didn't sense judgment from what you said.
No,
I don't have a problem with you saying, well, that's weird, and well, it wouldn't have been 2020 or whatever, 2021 that time.
Yeah.
But that's weird in,
we're
in this century for people not to do that kind of research. And I get it, but anyway.
I do that research on people I'm having meetings with. I look them up on LinkedIn.
Yes. Yes.
And so
for an interview.
For an interview, for a whatever, somebody connects with me, I check them out. It's just, I think because we live in an age where there's so much information available.
It's there.
So it's possible for you to find out, is this somebody you really want to be connected with based on their public presence? But, fair enough. If that didn't happen, that didn't happen. And I don't think, I am not saying that my approach is the right one. I'm just saying, I'm saying that's how I would have done it, but that doesn't mean that's how she should have done it, right?
Right.
So to your point, let's not blame the victim.
Let's not blame the victim, and also, who among us has not maybe even had a relationship that other people could see was problematic, right?
Well, yes.
Leave me alone.
Listen, a lot of women have been there, okay? A lot of people have been there, in fact. A lot of people have been there.
And people, my big sister, people try to tell you this is going to be a problem. and you either don't fully hear what they're saying, don't hear it, don't realize the depth and the seriousness of what they're trying to tell you, or you think, well, I'm marrying the person, I'm not marrying their past. I'm marrying the person, I'm not marrying their family, we have to give people a chance. People are allowed to make mistakes and do better. Like we all make all these excuses and justifications. I'm like, okay, if they apply to us, why are they not applying to Meghan?
Exactly.
Is she not worthy of that?
Is she not a human being?
Is she not a human being? Is she not
allowed to make a mistake?
Yes.
Is she not allowed to? Because as you've pointed out, I think before, the honeymoon period is called a honeymoon period for a reason. It looks like you're in the fold. We were talking about narcissism earlier, narcissistic relationships, and this is what happens.
This is part of it.
Love bombing, putting the target on a pedestal. So it looked like if she had been brought into the firm, right,
and again. The narcissist that we're speaking about in this scenario is the firm.
Is the firm.
Yes.
And so, you have the honeymoon period, and all of a sudden you wake up to a very dark reality.
Yeah, and your passport is gone. And your passport is gone and you can't leave the palace.
And the word dark is particularly appropriate given how you're viewed, right? Right. So whether that's a job, a friendship, or romantic relationship, we've all been there. And let me tell you, research or no research, that is not going to save you, right?
No, you can't research everything. Let's not research everything. And again, I'm not disagreeing. Some people will say yes, you should have researched. Some will say no. That's up to you and how you want to live your life. But let's not blame the victim. Let's not act like we have not all gone down similar paths in different, in different,
And
the details might differ, but we've done it.
And, let us not say because she should have done her research, that does not make what happened right. It's the same effect as when, a man rapes a woman and you say she should have worn a longer skirt. No, he should not have raped her.
Yeah,
we should have put another trigger warning. But anyway.
Okay. Trigger warning.
Right?
Sorry.
You don't have to put it in the
But no, but that is actually the perfect example. Is interesting, when like if you bring like alcohol into a situation of rape and so on, right? It's interesting, right? The alcohol is used to blame the woman and excuse the man. Yes. Same alcohol, right? Oh, he was drunk. He didn't mean it. He wasn't fully in control, right?
Yeah.
She was drunk. What decibel she asked for it. Same alcohol.
Yeah. So don't blame her. It's back to the Darvo that you were talking about. Deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. Let's not blame her, right?
Just don't.
Yeah.
It's not a good look. And also stop acting like if somehow in your life you ended up in a situation where Prince Harry was going to ask you to marry him, that you weren't going to say yes and run forthwith post haste to the palace and buy a new wardrobe of clothes and show up fabulous the next day. Don't act like you weren't going to do it, because we all know that if you are cishet leaning, right, you are going to go marry that prince and figure out the details later.
All right.
Leave Meghan alone. Yeah.
So I think you should lead this next section, sis, because I know this is very close to your heart.
Yes. So part of what really broke my heart, or the thing that most broke my heart, was when Meghan talked about suicidal ideation. And nobody, as you kind of alluded to just now, whether she should have researched or not, what happened, nobody deserves to have horrible things happen to them, right? And so to hear that she felt so bad that she thought persistently and consistently about taking her own life, it broke my heart on her behalf. And I have seen messages of support from celebrities, from Serena Williams, among others, who I believe the two of them are quite close friends, right? But I have witnessed a lot of backlash. I don't know if you've seen backlash, sis, but I've seen a lot about, people, apparently there are millions of people out there, here's Morgan, who believe, we're going to get him later, but who believe that she basically was lying about feeling suicidal, and
well, as you know, I have a very dear friend who committed suicide some years ago, maybe 10, 11 years ago now. And I don't believe, from my experience with her and with a couple other people, that people who are really feeling suicidal, I don't think this is something that they lie about. We're not talking about people seeking attention. We're talking about people feeling at the end of their tether and feeling like they can't go on. Who lies about that? That's not my experience.
Seeking help is not seeking attention. Those are two different things.
Those are two different things. And that really rang true. That look of misery. And interestingly, I know we're talking about Meghan and Harry, but when you hark back to the Diana days, there are images of her looking equally miserable. If you catch her off guard, there are a couple of photos out there, and that same misery is evident. So it clearly, marrying into the firm is no easy ride.
It's no easy ride, and I believe, I'm gonna have to research it, but I believe there was some talk of Diana. I don't know if it got as far as her feeling suicidal. I know that she was, she had, again, trigger warning, bulimia, right? Bulimia, and she was depressed, right? Fergie had issues as well, mental health, emotional health issues. And so, I myself personally, I have had, unfortunately, my experiences with suicidal ideation and suicide attempts and so on. And so it's not something that you lie about. And we need to make sure that the world is safe for people to be able to have these kinds of conversations and be able to reach out and express safely when they need help and be assured that they're going to get it. So when I see, all the, the vitriol and the minimization and the questioning of her motives and basically the character assassination that so many people are directing towards Meghan, in terms of, let's, take race out of it, just in terms of her saying, I felt suicidal.
Yes.
This is why people who have had mental health struggles don't like to disclose.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to be kicked when they're down. Nobody wants to have their character assassinated. Nobody wants to feel judged. Nobody wants that stigma all over them.
And one of the things that I've seen related to this is, people are saying, when we see how you react to Meghan admitting to this, all of us who have ever experienced these feelings feel vulnerable, feel like we can't trust you, feel like you're not going to be understanding. So, you're leaving, by taking this approach, those who are, victim blaming, those who are questioning her motives, who are shaming her, the people who feel like this are also feeling like they are being shamed, like their motives are being questioned, right?
Yes.
They see themselves
like they are
in
not
her.
emotionally safe.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's
I
a conversation we need. It's a conversation that we need to have, right?
Absolutely.
I think her openness has already brought this out. There's this idea that, no matter who you are, how well off, how privileged, you can still be struggling with these issues, right? And, as I think you said, it's putting a face to the phrase, it's okay to not feel okay. She's helping to reduce that stigma and make it easier for people to seek help.
Yeah, I think that she, I don't know if it was her intention, although, Oprah did ask, did mention, I think it was the day after, that she always asks people that she's going to interview, what is your intention? Here's what my intention is. What's your intention with this interview? I don't know if it was part of Meghan's intention to shed light on mental health issues and specifically on suicide awareness, and suicidal ideation, suicide attempts, and so on. I don't know if it was part of her intention, but it's certainly something that she accomplished, and that needed to be accomplished because, but let's just, now in this world that we're living in, and we're in this pandemic era. We're not post-pandemic yet, and you and I even covered this early on, that there have been and will continue to be mental health fallouts because of the pandemic. Because of the pandemic, the stress level is so intensely high, and so I'm grateful that Meghan spoke about this and shed more light on it, and hopefully she's helped some people, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think that was, important and much needed, as you said.
absolutely. And so, overall, I left the interview. I mean, there were some parts that still, still like
Processing,
flabbergasted about. But overall, I felt an intense empathy and compassion for her and Harry, Meghan and Harry. But I also felt hopeful, right? I was surprised. I'm like, okay, side note, Tyler Perry. I was like, this is the interview that this is the interview that just kept on giving. I was like, wait, so Medea saves the day? Like what?
New movie. Oh my gosh. No, and
Medea goes to the palace.
Something that we haven't talked about, and I can speak a little bit to this, being married to a white man myself, this whole sudden awakening to what a fraction of what Black people go through. I know this is something that that my husband has commented on, that there are certain things that did not happen before he met me. There's certain conversations he was never privy to. There's certain things he did not know about. And now he says, well, I still don't feel them in the same way as you, but I'm now at least aware that they happen,
Right.
And I think
Harry said something similar.
Yes, that kind of rude awakening, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that I found also exceedingly relatable, you know. I mean, there was so much. There was so much,
Yeah.
you know.
And so what do you have any like takeaways from, I don't know, from the whole, like, I feel like it was an experience, it was an odyssey, it was a journey that we all went on globally together, and tea was spilled, lessons were learned. Let's
Lessons were
talk.
learned. Well,
Lessons were
I'm
learned.
gonna skip to it reminded me, how good Oprah is at her job. Oh my gosh,
Yes.
right? That was
Auntie Oprah.
that was a masterclass,
It was
right?
a masterclass, and I was like, I hope that every single journalism student is
Yes,
watching this and
because
seeing a
yes,
master at work. Yeah.
when to ask a question, when to sit back and let people talk, how to get deeper into something, and how to do it, relatively gently and kindly, but still end up. I mean, we're talking about it, and people are going to be talking about it for a long time. And I'll tell you, journalism students are going to be studying this pretty shortly as
Yes.
well,
Yes,
right?
the art of the redirect. The
Yeah,
art of the redirect, Oprah. Because
really, really, really good.
every time like one of them, not necessarily deliberately, didn't fully answer questions. Sometimes it was deliberate, sometimes it was not,
She went
right?
back.
But she's like, oh, my people need to know about this though, so we're going to come back, right?
Yes, and she,
And she
come
did.
back and ask the question in a slightly different way and get the information out. Right? I mean, so good. So
Yeah.
good. Okay, what about you? What about you?
Takeaways, fairy tales aren't real.
Didn't we know that though?
But fairy tales aren't real, but you can create your own happily ever after. That was a big one, right?
Okay.
That even after all that they've been through, because again, bring it down to, okay, fine, we're not all living in palaces and borrowing people's mansions. I
Yeah.
get that, right? But we're all going through a stressful time. This just says to me, no matter what you have been through or going through, right? Know that it is survivable. Know that there is light. Know that there is hope. Know that there are people who love and support you, that are rooting for you. And so in the midst of all this pandemic stress that we're going through right now, people who are looking for jobs, people who are obviously have serious health concerns, know that or are concerned about people close to them, know that just keep going, put one foot in front of the other and keep going. Yeah. That was a big one.
I want to talk a little bit about misogynoir. Right?
Misogynoir.
Yes, that even before the interview and then after, during, and then after the interview, this her experience is what Black women face all the time. The racism, the bullying, the undermining, the exclusion. The
And it's exhausting.
it is exactly exhausting, and the feeling that there was no protection, which I think she said was one of her takeaways, is she thought she was protected and she wasn't. So I don't know, it's kind of, there's a certain amount of hopelessness that goes along with that, because it's thinking, okay, if Meghan can't even feel protected in her elevated position, what hope is there for the rest of us? Who's going to be protecting us? Who's advocating for us? It told me that, we need to advocate for us. We need to take steps in our circles to protect ourselves. Right? What about you?
For sure.
Another takeaway for you?
I co-sign on all of that. That was definitely a takeaway for me, that and like you said, I didn't know if to feel hopeful or despairing, because because this had happened to a duchess. It's happened to a duchess, a princess, I don't know, whatever her title was. But it's like, wow, so what about us in corporate America or corporate wherever, just living a regular life. And so people aren't going to advocate for us, we're going to have to advocate for ourselves. But again, so much light was shed because of the broad reach of this interview. I think that a lot of healing, a lot of conversations have begun to take place that hopefully will start to move the needle a bit in a more positive direction.
Yes.
Another takeaway for me, I think you mentioned this, that no one is exempt
Yeah.
from mental illness. Yeah. You mentioned that. Yeah, that was a big one for me as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that something that I think you have said before is that people with mental illness aren't faking illness; they might be faking wellness, right? And
Oh
we have
yes.
all been in
Yes.
situations. We have all been in situations where we have smiled through pain. We have not,
Yeah.
it has not been the right moment to let somebody in, and so you keep
Mm-hmm.
smiling, and then you deal with it privately. Okay,
Yeah.
so I think that's a really
Yeah.
important one.
We've all had that, curl up on the bathroom floor kind of,
Yeah.
the ugly cry. We've all had that those moments. Like you said, it's not always safe or the right time for various reasons to share or to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
So we've all had those moments. But yeah, a lot of people are faking wellness. A lot of people are faking being okay because you have to put and we touch on this a lot, in the podcast talking about introversion and so on, but just imagine being an introvert and having, so then you have to put on your extroverted face. You have to zip that part of your suit on. And then you also have to zip on your suit where you have to appear to be mentally and emotionally fine,
And
even if you're not, and composed,
Yes.
even if that's not how you're feeling, and just imagine the additional pressure of that.
And so that also reminds us not to judge, right?
Yeah.
Not to judge. Okay. We don't know what people are going through. And, there's a saying that circulates from time to time that says, if you can be anything, be kind. Right?
Yes.
I think kindness is
Lead
important.
with empathy.
Exactly. Don't just say this person is in this position and therefore she is not deserving of our empathy. I don't
Which
think
I've seen
that's
a lot
true.
of.
I don't think
Not a good look.
I don't think that's true. I think, many of the issues that she raised are issues that we can all relate to, or many of us can relate to, particularly Black women. And so let us be a little empathetic. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's be empathetic.
Let us be empathetic. Another takeaway for me, which we kind of touched on a bit already, was normalize talking about mental health. And I think Meghan has done a lot. She sort of, in the space of a few minutes within that 2-hour interview, she that was her activism for the next several years in terms of mental health. Because it was seen initially by 17 million people.
Yes.
And I know, and that was just US, probably like US numbers.
Yeah, I think 11 million people saw it in the UK. And who knows
Right,
how many saw it around the world, because I know this must be one of the hottest programs,
It's hot. And they already they rebroadcast it. Is it broadcast or broadcasted? Anyway, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
They retelevised.
Yeah.
They retelevised it a couple of days ago again. So that would have been more people.
Exactly.
Point being, she has helped to normalize talking about mental health, normalize, the candor and the openness, normalize seeking help, normalize providing help and being there for people. And I think she is definitely helped to. She hasn't, the stigma is still there, but I think she's helped to end it. She's helped to end the stigma around mental health,
Yes, and finally, don't give up. I mean, one of the examples there was, she managed to keep going. She had the support of her husband, and they did what they needed to do for both their mental health. Because, let's not forget also, I mean, we've been focusing on Meghan, but let's not forget that, Harry lost his mother as a very young boy, and he has been within the firm. And if you look back, there have definitely been signs of not quite fitting in even before this. So, let's also normalize men looking after their mental health. Okay.
Let's normalize men looking after their mental health. And something that I wanted to talk about in the article that I wrote, but like it was so expansive, I might go in and update, but I wanted to also talk about, this is how you support your partner.
Oh, yes.
This is how you support your partner. That was a huge takeaway for me, because, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know what to do. And, be there. Love is a verb. Act, do something, be proactive,
Yes. I mean, that
make
is
a plan, execute against the plan.
ultimate allyship is that you leave your family to support your wife who is experiencing racism.
That's it.
And that's a hard choice to make, because I don't
It is
for
hard.
a minute
It is
think
hard.
that he has found this easy.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
knew what he had to do.
Yeah. Because he values her, he values their family, their relationship, you know.
Exactly.
And when you see them together in their quiet moments, they do look happy,
Yes.
which made me happy,
Yes.
you know.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, I think Meghan, at some point, I think when Oprah asked her question again, it was about her overall feeling and about the suicidal ideation and what message she wanted people to leave with people, and she said, know that there is another side, know that life is worth living.
And I think that's a good place for us to wrap up.
Yes, because it's a positive, uplifting message. So always know that. Know that life is worth living. Right. And that you are needed. Know that you're needed. The world needs you. Exactly. Right? Yeah.
So thank you for listening to part 2 of our interview unpacking. There will be a part 3 where we talk a little bit about some of the reaction. So look out for that episode coming soon. And thanks again for listening. We're the Introvert Sisters, and we will see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Introvert Sisters. Loved what you heard? You can catch all our episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and all other major platforms. Subscribe, rate, and write a review. Find us online at theintrovertsisters.com and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Introvert Sisters. See you next time. Peace.